Hello everyone, today we will study about chapter 16, Air. In this chapter we will learn about composition of air, air and life and air pollution. Air is a mixture of gases. Air is very important for the survival of all living organisms. We can survive without food for some time. But if we do not get air for few minutes, we cannot survive. So, air is very important for the survival of all living organisms. Air is a mixture of gases. Let's study in detail about composition of air. Air is a mixture of gases. Air has many gases present in it. For example, nitrogen is 78%, oxygen is 21% in air, carbon dioxide is 0.3% in air, and remaining other gases like argon, methane, ozone, they constitute only 0.97% of the air. If we see 78% plus 28%, it makes 99%. That means nitrogen and oxygen together make 99% of the air. And the remaining 1% consists of carbon dioxide and other gases like argon, methane, ozone, etc. Other than this, these gases, water vapors and dust and smoke, they are also present in air. Let's see. As I told, in the air, other than gases like oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide and many other gases, water vapor and dust and smoke, they are also present in the air. But the quantity of dust and smoke and water vapor, it differs from place to place and time to time. For example, if we compare the quality of air in village and city, then the quality of air will be better in villages. Because in the air of cities, the amount of pollutants are present in larger amount. Now we will study about the importance of all the gases present in the air in detail one by one. First we will start with the nitrogen. Nitrogen is the most abundant gas present in the atmosphere. That means nitrogen is 78% in air. It is the major part of air. That's why it has been said that it is the most abundant gas present in the atmosphere. This gas is colorless. Colorless means it has no color. And this gas is odorless. Odorless means this gas has no smell. Nitrogen is very important for all the living organisms. Let's see how. Nitrogen forms the basic building block of nucleic acids like DNA, RNA, etc. and proteins in all living organisms. It is also essential for the plant growth. But the plants, they cannot use the nitrogen directly from the atmosphere. Nitrogen present in the atmosphere is converted into the nitric acid due to the chemical reaction caused by the lightning and rain. And then this nitric acid is converted into the usable form by the bacteria that are present in the soil for the plants. That means the bacteria that are present in the soil, they convert the nitric acids into the usable forms for the plants. And then these nitric acids are used by the plants. Nitrogen is very essential for the plant growth. And animals obtain nitrogen from the plants and animal sources of the food. That means animals obtain the nitrogen from the plants in form of the proteins. So nitrogen is very important for all the living organisms. Now we will move on to the next component, that is oxygen. Oxygen is 21% in air. Oxygen is second most abundant gas in the atmosphere. All living organisms such as plants, fish, animals, insects, birds and human beings breathe in oxygen. This oxygen is used to obtain energy from the food that we eat. This process is called respiration. We have studied that in respiration, what happens? The inhaled oxygen is used to break down the food to produce energy. So, this is because of the respiration, we get the energy from the food that we eat. And in respiration, inhaled oxygen is used to obtain the energy from the food that we eat. So oxygen is very important. Oxygen is also required for burning. Burning can take place only in the presence of oxygen. So oxygen is very important for the burning. We know that oxygen is so important, it is required for burning, and all living organisms, they also breathe in oxygen. But how the balance of the oxygen is maintained in the atmosphere? Let's see. Oxygen is constantly replenished by the plants through the process of photosynthesis. We know that plants make their own food by the process of photosynthesis. And in this process, plants use carbon dioxide and produce oxygen. And plants release oxygen in the atmosphere. So, plants release the oxygen in the atmosphere. So, that's how the balance of oxygen is maintained in the atmosphere. I hope the importance of nitrogen and oxygen is clear. Now we will move on to the next one. We know that oxygen is very important for all the living organisms because all the living organisms breathe in oxygen. But different animals, they use different organs and different mechanisms for the breathing. Let's see. Mammals like human beings breathe through the nose, and the air that we breathe in, that goes to lungs. But if we talk about the insects like grasshoppers, cockroaches, they breathe through the tiny holes called spiracles. And the air that they breathe in, that goes to the trachea. And in case of the earthworms, see here, earthworms, they breathe through the moist skin. Earthworms breathe through their moist skin. Let's talk about the aquatic animals now. Aquatic animals like fish and crab, they breathe through gills. Aquatic mammals like whales and dolphins, they have air holes for breathing. Next is amphibians. Amphibian means the animals that can live both on land and in water also. Amphibians like frog, salamander, they have separate mechanisms for breathing underwater and outside water. On land, frogs use their lungs to breathe in air. But in water, they breathe with the help of their moist skin. So, amphibians use lungs to breathe in air when they are on land, but they breathe with the help of their moist skin when they are in water. But if we talk about the birds, they breathe with the help of the lungs. And if we talk about the plants, in the plant, the exchange of gases takes place through the tiny holes called stomata. Stomata are present on the underside of the leaves. So, we have discussed the different mechanisms and different organs are used by the different animals for the breathing. Now after the oxygen, we will talk about the carbon dioxide. Air contains 0.03% of carbon dioxide. carbon dioxide is released during the respiration? Yes, as I told earlier, in the respiration, oxygen is used and carbon dioxide is released. It is also released when something burns. For example, during the burning of petrol and diesel in vehicles. When we burn anything, carbon dioxide is produced, and along with the carbon dioxide, smoke and few other gases are also produced. So, how the carbon dioxide is released in the atmosphere? It is released during the respiration, and number 2, it is released when something burns. But carbon dioxide is used by the plants during the photosynthesis. We know that in the process of photosynthesis, plants use carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight to make their food. So carbon dioxide is very important for the plants, because without carbon dioxide, plants cannot make their food. So carbon dioxide is used by the plants during the photosynthesis. I hope the importance of carbon dioxide is also clear. Now we will talk about the dust and smoke. We know that other than the gases, dust and smoke, they are also present in the air. Switch on a torch light in a dark room and observe the beam of the light. You can see dust particles flying in the air. This you might have experienced when we switch on torchlight in a dark room and observe the beam of the light, we can see the dust particles flying in the air. There is a large size increase in the amount of dust and smoke due to human activities. Nowadays, due to human activities, the amount of dust and smoke is increasing on a large scale in the air. Let's see how the dust and smoke is released in the atmosphere. Dust and smoke are released from the vehicles, from the factories, construction of buildings, burning the garbage, using firewood for cooking, etc. The presence of a lot of dust and smoke in the air is cause of many respiratory diseases and allergies in the human beings. Dust and smoke are present in higher amounts in the cities than in the villages. So we have seen that dust and smoke, they are increasing in the air day by day due to the human activities. And the increasing amount of the dust and the increasing amount of this dust and smoke in the air is not good. It is harmful. It is the cause of many respiratory diseases in the human beings. Now we will talk about the water vapors. First, let us understand what are water vapors. Water vapors are the gaseous form of the water. When we heat the water for long time, or when we boil the water starts converting into water vapors. Water vapor is the gaseous form of the water. You can see here in this picture, the wet clothes, they get dried due to the evaporation. Evaporation means the process of conversion of liquid into gas is evaporation. What happens when we spread the clothes, wet clothes on a clothes line? The water gets evaporated from the wet clothes, and wet clothes, they get dry. Okay, let's see. The amount of the water vapor present in the air of a place is known as the atmospheric humidity. Water vapor present in the air may be due to the evaporation from water sources or due to transpiration from the plants. That means the water vapors are present in the air due to evaporation from the water sources like rivers, ponds, sea, etc. or due to the transpiration from plants. Transpiration is the process in which the plants, they release the excess water in form of water vapor in the atmosphere. So this is how water vapor are present in the air. Water vapors, they keep air cool and is also a part of water cycle. Let's see what is water cycle and how water vapors are the part of water cycle. This picture shows the water cycle. Water cycle means the circulation of water from the earth to atmosphere, and then again from atmosphere to the earth. This circulation of water from earth to atmosphere and from atmosphere to earth. This is water cycle. Water gets evaporated from the oceans or water bodies. And water vapors are also formed due to the transpiration. You can see in this picture, excess water is released from the plants in form of the water vapors in the atmosphere. So the water get evaporated from the oceans and water vapors are formed in the atmosphere due to the transpiration from the leaves of the plants. These water vapors, when they rise up in the atmosphere, where they meet the cool air, these water vapors then condenses to form the clouds. And then water from the clouds come back to the earth in form of rain, snow, hail, etc. So this process of coming of the water from the clouds to earth in form of rain, snow, etc. this is called precipitation. So this process of continuous circulation of water from the earth's surface to atmosphere and back to the earth is known as water cycle. And this water cycle is happening because of the water vapors. So we can see water vapors are very important in the water cycle. Now we will study about the balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the nature. We know that both the carbon dioxide and oxygen, they are important. Let's see how the balance of the carbon dioxide and oxygen is maintained in the nature. Carbon dioxide is released by all living organisms that breathe in oxygen. We know that all living organisms, we breathe in oxygen and we release carbon dioxide. If all the oxygen is used up, then there will be a shortage of oxygen. But this doesn't happen because of the plants and the trees present in the nature. Photosynthesis is the process in which plants take in carbon dioxide from the air to prepare their food in presence of sunlight. In this process, oxygen is produced and released into the atmosphere. Let's understand this whole thing, this balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen with the help of this diagram. In the process of photosynthesis, what happens? Oxygen in the atmosphere is released. This oxygen is consumed by the burning of the things. When anything burns, that consumes oxygen and produces carbon dioxide. And this oxygen is breathed in by all the living organisms. And all the living organisms, they release carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And again the plants use this carbon dioxide to prepare their food and they release the oxygen. So this way, balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the nature is maintained. Now you might be thinking, plants on the one hand, they are using carbon dioxide and releasing oxygen. But here also plants they are taking in oxygen, or we can say they are breathing in oxygen and releasing the carbon dioxide. But the plants, the oxygen that they use for the respiration, the amount of that oxygen is very small as compared to the oxygen that they produced. That's why it is said that plants release oxygen, or it is said that plants produce oxygen. Okay, because the plants the plants use oxygen for the respiration, that is of very small amount as compared to the oxygen that they produce. So that's why we say that plants produce oxygen. I hope this balance of carbon dioxide and oxygen in the nature is clear. Now we will see that air is also useful in following different ways. We will see that how air is so useful for us? In this picture, you can see that these are the windmills. Wind, you can see here in this picture, wind rotates the windmill. Due to wind, this windmill rotates, and then these windmills, they are used to generate the electricity, and it is a clean source of energy. The production of the electricity from the windmills doesn't produce any pollution. So windmills are very important. And other than this, there are so many uses of the air. Let's see. Birds, bats, insects, they can fly due to the presence of the air in the atmosphere. And air also helps in the movement of sailing boats, gliders, parachutes, and aeroplanes. Other than this, air also helps in the dispersal of seeds and the pollen of the flowers of several plants, because of which plants grow at the faraway places also. And the water cycle is also influenced by the temperature of air and the movement of wind. We know that clouds move with wind. So, wind brings the rain to the different places. So, we have seen that air is very useful for us in the many different ways. Now, we will move on to the next topic, that is air pollution. Air and atmosphere are the main reasons for the life on the planet Earth. But the quality of air is decreasing due to increase in the amount of pollutants in the air, thus causing the air pollution. We can see that because of the so many vehicles on the roads and the smoke released from the factories, the quality of air is decreasing. Okay, which is causing the air pollution. Pollutants means the unwanted substances which pollute the air. Let's see what are the reasons for this air pollution. The reasons for the air pollution are both natural sources and human activities. The natural sources that causes air pollution are the smoke and dust arising from the forest fires or the volcanic eruptions. But air pollution is also called due to the human activities like combustion of fossil fuels such as petrol, diesel, due to ever increasing number of the vehicles in the cities, and even burning wood in the villages and smoke from the chimneys that cause degradation of the quality of air we breathe. Degradation means the reduction in the quality. So we have seen that there are so many causes for the air pollution. Factories, power plants, automobile exhaust, petroleum refineries, these are also the causes for the air pollution. The amount of gases such as carbon dioxide, carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, nitrogen oxide, these are increasing in the air that we breathe. And the increase in the number of such poisonous gases in the air, it leads to various lung diseases such as wheezing, bronchitis and cancer. And this air pollution, it is harmful for the plants and animals also, because plants and animals, they too are facing the problems due to harmful gases that are being added to the air. So this air pollution, it is harmful for the human beings, plants, animals, and for everybody. Now let us discuss about the ways how we can control this air pollution. We can control this air pollution by planting more trees and by stopping the deforestation. Deforestation means cutting the trees on a large scale. So by planting the more trees, we will be able to bring a balance in the oxygen and carbon dioxide in the nature. We should switch to the clean fuels like CNG in the vehicles. CNG does not produce the poisonous gases. CNG is a cleaner fuel. We should switch to the cleaner fuels like CNG, LPG, etc. And we should switch to the clean energy sources like solar energy, wind energy, etc. And we should use public transport. We should decrease the mining activities. And instead of burning the dry leaves, we should put them in the compost pit. So by following the various steps, we can reduce the air pollution, because air pollution is very harmful for the plants, animals and human beings. Now we will study about depletion of the ozone layer. Ozone is a naturally occurring layer of gas in the stratosphere layer of the atmosphere. In the atmosphere there are various layers, and in the stratosphere layer, ozone is a layer of gas. The layer stretches from the 15 kilometers above the Earth's surface to 30 kilometers. Ozone layer is very important for the all living organisms because it protects all the living organisms on the Earth from the ultraviolet radiation emitted by the sun. Without ozone layer in the atmosphere, it would be very difficult to survive on the Earth, because it blocks the harmful UV radiations emitted from the sun. Chlorofluorocarbons, they are the chemicals found in the spray aerosols, refrigerator units and fire extinguishers. These chlorofluorocarbons, they damage the ozone layer. They are the chemical pollutants responsible for the depletion of ozone layer. But nowadays we are using the less harmful pollutants in place of the chlorofluorocarbons. Let's see why. Ozone layer has been destroyed by up to 65% in the certain parts of southern hemisphere of the Earth. This leads to the thinning of ozone layer, which is referred to as the ozone hole. As I told that chlorofluorocarbons, they damage the ozone layer. They are depleting the ozone layer. Depleting the ozone layer means the ozone layer is getting thinner. It is also known as ozone hole. The UV rays that pass through the ozone hole that can cause serious health problems related to eyes and skin. So UV rays, these are very harmful for the living organisms. Without ozone layer in the atmosphere, it would be very difficult to survive on the Earth. So ozone layer is very important for us. And we should use the chlorofluorocarbons in the small quantity. We should replace them with some other chemicals that do not deplete the ozone layer. So here this chapter here is complete. I hope this chapter is clear to all of you. Thank you.